Sam Altman got fired from OpenAI on a Friday. 5 days later, the four people who fired him were gone, and he was back, running the most valuable AI company on Earth. What happened in those 5 days is the most useful business story of the last 20 years. It teaches you a rule about power that almost nobody knows, and a test you can run on your own job, your own boss, or yourself by Tuesday morning. Let me show you what happened. It started with a phone call on November 17th, 2023. Sam was flying back from a tech summit. The OpenAI board called him on Google Meet. They told him he was fired. Effective right now. The reason they gave was thin. They said he hadn't been consistently candid with them. That meant they thought he was hiding things. Moving too fast. Making deals they didn't know about. Building stuff that scared them. The board had 4 people on it besides Sam. 3 of them were professors and AI researchers. One was the co-founder of the company, a guy named Ilias Sutskever. At the time, one of the smartest AI scientists alive. They all voted yes. It looked like a clean kill. The board had the legal right. The bylaws said they could fire the CEO with a majority vote. They had 4 out of 5. Within an hour, OpenAI announced the firing on its blog. Sam tweeted, "I love my time at OpenAI." That was supposed to be the end. It was the beginning. Here is what the board did not understand. Sam Altman wasn't just the CEO. He was the person every employee, every investor, every business partner, and every government on Earth had built their relationship with. When you bought OpenAI's product, you bought it from Sam. When Microsoft put $13 billion into the company, they did it because they trusted Sam. Within 3 hours of the firing, Greg Brockman, the president, the co-founder, the second face of the company, quit in solidarity. The next 2 most senior researchers quit minutes after that. By Saturday morning, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella was on a private call with Sam. By Sunday night, Microsoft had publicly offered Sam and Greg jobs, leading a brand new AI lab inside Microsoft. The message to the OpenAI board was loud and clear. We will just take your whole company and put it inside ours. The board's only weapon, controlling the company, was about to be worthless. Then Sunday afternoon, something almost unheard of in business happened. 700 of OpenAI's 770 employees signed an open letter saying they would resign unless the board brought Sam back. 90% of the company. The letter said they would all follow him to Microsoft if needed. Then came the punchline. The 700 signature on the letter was Ilias Sutskever, the board member who had voted to fire Sam in the first place. He had changed his mind, in public, with his name on a letter that would humiliate him in front of the entire industry. By Tuesday night, 5 days after the firing, every board member who had voted Sam out was gone. Sam was back as CEO. The company had a brand new board, and during the chaos, OpenAI's value had actually gone up. 4 people fired the most important person at the most important AI company on Earth. 5 days later, those 4 people had been fired by the rest of the company. You have seen this story before. You just might not know it. In 1985, Apple's board fired Steve Jobs from the company he had founded. They thought he was hard to work with. They were right. They also thought the company would do better without him. They were very wrong. Over the next 12 years, Apple almost went bankrupt 3 times. Their stock dropped 90%. The new CEOs they hired tried everything. They sold cheaper computers. They licensed the software. They cut costs. Nothing worked. In 1997, Apple, days from running out of money, bought Steve Jobs' small new company and brought him back. Within 4 years, he had built the iPod. Within 10, he had built the iPhone. Apple is now worth more than $3 trillion. What Steve Jobs and Sam Altman have in common is not that they were good CEOs. Plenty of people are good CEOs. They were what business writers call indispensable men. People so woven into a company that you cannot remove them without removing the company itself. So, when does one person actually become a company? 3 things have to be true. 1, That person has to be the public face. When customers, investors, or partners think of the company, they see this person first. They don't see the logo. They see the human. 2. That person has to be the relationship center. The deals, the trust, the alliances, all of them run through this one person. If you remove them, the relationships break. 3. That person has to be the vision generator, not the executor, the person who decides what the company is going to do next. The strategy comes from their head. When all three are true, you have an indispensable person. Firing them does not fire them. It just attaches them, and the company walks out the door behind them. Sam Altman had all three. Steve Jobs had all three. Most CEOs have one or two, and those CEOs can absolutely be fired without the company falling apart. Here is the test you can run on your own life this week. Pick a job, a project, or a group you're part of. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. If I left tomorrow, who will my customers, or clients, or users, or teammates follow? Me or the company? 2. If I left, would the key relationships break? Or would they survive my replacement? 3. If I left, does the plan walk out with me, or does it stay? If the honest answer to all 3 is me, you are the indispensable person in this group. That gives you enormous leverage and a responsibility you may not be using. If the honest answer to all 3 is the company, you are replaceable. That is not an insult. Most jobs work this way. But knowing it tells you where to push, where to negotiate, and where you cannot count on being protected by the place you work for. Most regret in modern work comes from people who thought they were the indispensable person. They were wrong. Sam Altman is still CEO. The 4 board members who fired him are still gone. And every AI company on Earth learned the same lesson in 5 days. In the right company, the org chart is fiction. Real power is who walks out if you remove the head. If this was useful, subscribe. Every day we go deeper on one more rule about how the world actually works, not how the books say it works. The next video is about a man who built a $40 billion company by following a single rule most successful people break every week. He is 40 years old. He still works in the same office he started in, and his nightly routine would bore a teenager. We'll go deep on it next. Until then, sharper thinking, one model at a time.